Hi guys, once again happy Saturday. We're going to try this again. I had a little trouble with my connection there, so we'll give it just a minute, see if it drops out. I hope that your day is going well. I hope you're staying warm. It is cold outside here in Oklahoma today. Gosh, I stayed in most of the morning and decided that it was going to be a day where you just kind of hang out indoors. I did venture out for a little brunch over at Cafe Cacao. And someone was asking me, I checked in over there, somebody said, well, what do you have if you eat there? I like their chocolate oatmeal. It's really good. The migas are really good. And there's always a line over there. There's always a wait. And you know what? That's okay because it kind of is part of the place. It's kind of part of the personality. So this is what I want to make for you guys today. We've got the Rose Bowl coming up, right? So what are you going to make? What are you going to have that day? All kinds of snacks, things like that. So I thought, well, what about Meatball Sub Soup? So you like a meatball sub, right? Who doesn't? It's meatballs, it's red sauce, it's ready to go. Easy to do. So let's make some of that. And this is a pretty simple recipe. You can make it easier all you want. You can use jarred stuff. You can use pre-made meatballs. Whatever works for you, make it right and make it work. So you start with a pound of hamburger, okay? And a half a teaspoon of red pepper flakes, a half a cup of Italian breadcrumbs, and then we want 2 cloves of garlic. And we're going to put this actually in a little bit bigger bowl. There we go. Put that bowl over there. How was your Christmas? We haven't visited since Christmas, I don't think. So because that was during the week, I'm mincing 2 cloves of garlic here, so we'll have that ready to go. There we go. 1, 2. Get your oven turned on to 350. Get it heated up because we're going to bake these meatballs for just a minute. And it takes about 15 minutes to make those. I'm going to tell you right now, I've cheated. I already have some in the oven, so you guys don't have to sit around and wait for them to get made and cook in the oven and that kind of thing, right? So mince up your garlic just a little bit, and then we'll mix all this together. There we go. Santa was good to you? Everything was well? Things were good at my house. My family came in from out on the East Coast, and we had a nice visit and a great meal. We did a Christmas ham, and I think I posted a couple pictures of this. So I always think you should make a nice table setting for Christmas because you spend a lot of money on that meal, so why not do it? So that's what we did. Okay, so we're making our meatballs very quickly. Okay, pound of hamburger, half a cup of breadcrumbs, 2 cloves of garlic minced, and then we need about a 1/4 cup of fresh Italian parsley. And we're going to chop that up. I put half a teaspoon of red pepper flake in this. Where are you guys listening in from today? Where's everybody listening in from? So hit me up. I assume that you're probably home, hanging out, enjoying your Saturday. We've got a 3-day weekend ahead of us, which is awesome. I'm fortunate enough to have Monday off. You know, in the news business, we don't generally have holidays off. We usually take them a little bit later. So I got lucky this year. And we've got those holidays off, right? So which is great. These meatballs are really easy, very simple. Okay, so and just mix it in a little bit like this. Again, if you want to do a pre-made meatball, feel free. Feel free. Do it. So it's up to you. And these are real simple to make. I've not put any salt or pepper in them. So if you want to add that, you can do that as well. So I cook with salt, but not a ton of salt. All right, so we're getting this mixed in here. There we go. All right, let me get got a foil lined pan. I'm gonna get that going here. Just make your meatballs, just pretty small ones, right? What'd Santa bring you guys? Let me tell you the thing that Santa brought me that was unexpected. An Alexa. And I never thought I wanted one of those. I never really gave those much thought. I like it. I think it's pretty cool. You can just tell it to play music, and it will do whatever you want it to do, which I think is cool. My Santa brought one to my sister as well, and she doesn't want to use it because she doesn't like. She's like, it's listening in on my conversation. Well, okay, that's fine. Whatever is right. So I'm just making out my meatballs here as quickly as I can for you guys. And then we're going to make the sauce. The sauce is a can of tomatoes, a half cup of Parmesan cheese grated, a teaspoon of oregano, a teaspoon of salt, pepper to taste, 3 cups of chicken stock. Okay. And that's about all there is to that. You're going to need a loaf of bread and mozzarella cheese, because what we're going to do is we're going to bake these meatballs off, and then we're going to put our sauce in there together and let it simmer a little bit. And then at the end, you put them in a bowl or your serving bowl, and then you broil them off. You melt that cheese on top, and it's pretty awesome, right? What a great way to spend the Rose Bowl with a great snack. I was trying to think of something that you guys might like, because it starts fairly later, so you're going to want something sort of substantial, more than just chips and dip, right? Yeah? So let me know where you guys are listening in from. I would love to know. Do you like seeing this stuff? Do you like this recipe? Throw up some likes. If you don't mind, that helps me know what you guys like. I finally figured out that, this is something that you guys like to see, because a lot of you guys stop me out on the street and ask me about what we're making or anything like that. So if you have any questions sort of at the end, we'll take a little bit bigger look, and I'll be able to know what you guys want to know and talk to you guys about what questions that you have. It's hard to talk, read your comments, and make all of this at one time. And I try to do this, if you're just tuning in, you've never listened to me do one of these, I try to do them in 20 minutes. Somebody was asking me the other day, they said, why do you always cook everything on high? Well, here's the reason why. I'm trying to get it done in 20 minutes, because I want you guys to be able to kind of see the finished product. 350 degrees in the oven. We'll just pop it in. We're going to let those brown off and get ready, okay? So now we're ready to make our sauce. So pretty nice sized onion you need, okay? We'll start with that. And we'll get that browned off in our pot to make this and get it started. That over here. There we go. All right. So, Christmas dinner. We had ham. We had my Aunt Roma Dale's lima beans. Her name was Roma Dale. Roma Dale, right? So, and she passed away a few years ago, but she was always real big on her lima beans, and they were like a creamed lima bean, and they were just delicious. And so I wanted to recreate those and make those. This is my dad's sister, and I actually had dried lima beans in a package, and I was going to make them, and my father walked in, and he looked at them, and he said, "Those are white. They're not green. Hers were green." Green, small, baby lima beans. And I said, okay, we'll go get green ones. And so I wanted to try to make it as close to hers as I could. And I'll give you, very quickly, all you basically do is cook your lima beans over in the stove, and then you put in Wondra. If you guys have ever used Wondra, I think that's what it's called. Let me double check that. Let me look in the counter in the cabinet and check. Yeah, it's Wondra. Let me show you this. Rah. Wondra. So Wondra is a super fine flour, and it helps make gravies. Okay, so if you're ever looking for that, it's an easy way to make gravy. So I'm chopping my onion up here. Real fine, as fine as I can, really. So, and sorry, I know I'm left-handed. I know it looks like I'm going to cut off my hand. I'm not. It's all good. I'm just left-handed, and it looks a little weird when you cut things. You need a clove of garlic. We'll go ahead and cut that up and get it in here. All right. Peel it off just a little bit. Like that. I think you're going to like this. It's something different. If you're having people over, they're expecting you to have chips and dip. They're expecting you to have nachos and those sorts of things. But I don't think they're going to expect Meatball Sub Soup. And I've got to get this onion out of my way because I'm about to cry all over the place on it. Okay, so we need our pot, right? I'm not going to spill anything, maybe. Doesn't matter if I do. I'm messy. Okay, there we go. Look at that. Not a drop spilled at all. A little olive oil in here. Okay. Teaspoon of salt. Okay, we'll add the other things later as soon as they get going here. Let me get this on the stove. Okay. Stir it just a minute. So I've got to find my utensils. You know, my mom is awesome, and she came and she reorganized some of my cabinets for me and my utensils, so I have to find them just a little bit, which is cool. No problem at all. We got that. All right, so let's talk about our tomatoes. This is a 28-ounce can. You need that. We'll get it open here. Crushed tomatoes are best. I don't have any crushed tomatoes in the house, so we're going to do it right here on the spot. These are just whole tomatoes. Bowl. All right. So I have just a little immersion blender, and I'm going to do this without spilling it on myself. Okay. Very slowly and carefully. Okay, another one of those. This is dangerous. No one's going to get hurt, but we are going to chop these up. And I'm not going to spill it on myself. There we go. Okay. Okay. There we go. So if you're just tuning in, we are making meatball subs in a soup form. Very easy to do. Right now we're just making up our sort of base to this. I put the meatballs in the oven. We made those. Those were just some parsley, some breadcrumbs, a pound of ground beef. Super easy to do. And put those in the oven. We've got an onion over here browning on the stove, starting to cook just a little bit. Just a little bit of salt and a clove of garlic. We put a couple cloves of garlic in our meatballs too. So here's the thing about meatballs. A lot of times I'll just put them I'll roll them up and put them in the pan and just cook them that way. So if you want to cook them in the oven, that's your call. I'm just doing it because it makes a little sense for this. We've got our 28-ounce crushed, which you just saw me chop up our tomatoes in there. This is a half a cup of Parmesan cheese. I just use the stuff in the green can. It's easy. You can do fresh if you want to. Got some of that, but this is a half teaspoon of oregano. Little pepper. All right. Maybe a little bit more than a little pepper. Okay, let me turn this down a little bit because I am cooking it on super boil. That may be just a little bit too high for that. Those are starting to cook up, get a little translucent. I need another stirring utensil here. What's everybody doing for New Year's Eve? That's tomorrow, right? What's your plan? What are you doing? Hit me up. Tell me what you guys are up to for New Year's Eve. Anybody going downtown in Oklahoma City? Watch the ball rise? Do you stay in on New Year's Eve? What are you doing? So let me know. I want to know. So I'm just stirring this up a little bit. We're going to put this in as soon as the onions get a little bit more cooked up here. So here's my plan. We're having a crab boil. Do you like crab boils? Have you guys done those crab legs? So we're going to do one of those, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So you just have a big pot. It's got corn and kielbasa sausage and potatoes in it. It's really tasty. Okay? All right. So I think my onions are good over here, so we can put this in. Yeah. All right. So these 28 ounces of tomatoes, a clove of garlic, a half a cup of Parmesan cheese, a teaspoon of, there we go, a teaspoon of oregano, and that's ready to go. We're also going to need 3 cups of stock. Okay, I use chicken stock. Let me stir this up just a little bit. And the way I do my chicken stock is I usually use a chicken that I have had, and I will make my own stock. This is easy to do. If you get just one of those rotisserie chickens for $5, $6, $7, after you're done with it, throw an onion in a pot, some water, and maybe a carrot or celery, salt and pepper, and cook it. Boil it down until you have chicken stock, and then take a cup, measure out cups of this, put it in a bag, and freeze it. Then you always have chicken stock, right? And it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. Why are you not doing this? Why are you not doing this? So I've just added those 3 cups of stock in here. I'm going to bring this up to a good boil. Mine still has some frozen marks in it. That's okay. We'll get it cooked up here. So now we're getting close to finishing this up, right? So let me just wipe this up just a little bit. I'm going to look at my time. Are we 20 minutes in? I'm trying to get this finished up by 20 minutes. Obviously, if you guys are going to make this, I want you to take longer than 20 minutes. I want you to let this simmer for just a little while. I want you to cook it up really nicely and take just a little bit more time. But this just gives you an idea of how we're doing this. Let me check on these meatballs. They're browning up, looking good. You need mozzarella cheese. I have mozzarella cheese. If you can find it in the store already shaved or whatever, do that if you want. This is a very casual deal, right? Not a big, don't make this a big thing, okay? This is for you and your friends just to have some fun. And so this is not fancy at all. So, but I stopped at the Trader Joe's. They didn't have it shredded, so this is what we're doing. We're making our own. There we go. Okay, so I'm listening to Pandora, Coldplay. That's my station today, right? I appreciate you guys tuning in. Hit me up. Tell me where you are. I want to know what's going on this Saturday, because this is one of those almost like a throwaway day. Lots of ball games on and things like that. But I know we're all waiting for the Rose Bowl. That's why we're doing this. We've got New Year's Eve tomorrow. So I always feel like this is the night, especially when you have New Year's Eve falling on a weekend, right? When you have it falling on a weekend, people don't, if you're going out, you don't want to go out tonight because you're going to blow a bunch of money tomorrow night, right? So you don't want to go out. So you're just kind of hanging out. All right, so I'm going to pull out these meatballs because those are still cooking. I told you guys I cooked some meatballs ahead of time just because I wanted to make sure that we get all of this in our allotted time. So let me drop these meatballs in. Just put them down in your tomato sauce. There we go, right? Woo. Get this down here. There we go. All right. So they're going to kind of float to the top. Woo, that's hot. We're going to kind of float up to the top there. And you can let those simmer, right? Let those simmer. Then you want to get your oven turned on to broil. Don't laugh at me for grabbing that hot pot or hot pan. I did it. Didn't hurt that bad. It just hurt for a second. Less than a shot, maybe. Loaf of bread. You need a loaf of bread. Okay? And just because you're going to toast this off in your broiler as well, right? There we go. So cut a few pieces of this. That's all you got to do there. Let me stir the meatballs in my sauce now. Okay? And this is a soup, okay? So it is not just like a meatball. It's not going to have that consistency. It has the consistency of a soup. okay? But let's do it like this. When you have a soup, what do you need? A ladle. Funny story about my ladle. See this ladle? I nabbed this from my mother's house. Or maybe she gave it to me when I, left the house. She got that for her wedding party, your shower. They've been married 55 years, 53 years. This is the ladle. Okay. So here we go. Our Meatball Sub Soup is coming together. So I'm gonna ladle this out like this. Okay. And you can make this, again, as thick or as thin as far as the consistency goes. This is a thinner consistency of it. So here it is, and now I want to put some mozzarella on top. Okay. We want that to melt really nicely on top of this, right? And be awesome for you. So your friends are going to say, "Gosh, this is delicious." Okay, so I'm going to broil this off here. I'm going to do a couple of things at once. Okay, I'm going to do bread and this working together. Let me move my pan up just a little bit. Now let's put this in. We're going to broil that off, and then we'll be done with this, right? And you can have it. So what do you guys? I'm going to step up just a little bit while this is just browning off. One of the most difficult parts about my oven is you have to shut the door or the broiler shuts off. Okay, so I want to look and see what questions you guys have. So you want to know the ingredients again, Cindy. Okay, so this is basically what this is what you would put in a meatball sub. So it's meatballs, which is a pound of ground beef, half a cup of breadcrumbs, a teaspoon of salt, or half a teaspoon of salt, and 2 cloves of garlic, and a quarter cup of Italian parsley. Okay, fresh Italian parsley. That's all you have to put in that. So, a little pepper. Roll those up, put them in the oven, brown them. You don't have to cook them completely. You can finish it.